This video is a review of the Eahora Tiger Max electric scooter. I'm going to unbox, assemble, go over the controls, test ride, and review the scooter. The Tiger Max has dual 800 watt motors with a max speed of 35 miles per hour or 55 kilometers per hour, thumb throttle, 48 volt 20 amp hour battery with a range of up to 37 miles or 60 kilometers, front and rear drum brakes, 10-inch pneumatic urban style tires, headlight, taillight, color changing LEDs, front and rear coil suspension, and weighs 61 pounds or 28 kilograms. Additional specs can be found in the description section below. This is the box that it came in. Inside the foam pieces, it looks like we have this protector that goes over the stem, thank you card, the instruction manual, and the charger. In this piece of foam, there's 4 rubber protectors that go over the bolts on the wheels, and then there's an Allen key. Let's get the scooter assembled. This is the headlight. There's the display. Let's unfold the scooter. If this red locking mechanism is in the way, it'll prevent you from pulling this lever, so we need to pull it out of the way. Then you would pull this lever outwards. I like to put my foot on the back just because I get more leverage, but you want to push the stem forward until this falls in here, and then you can put this locking mechanism back in place so that this doesn't accidentally unlock. In order to fold it, you would pull this out of the way. Right now I can't pull this lever without pushing the stem forward a little bit. And then this goes back down here until you hear it click. And you would hear this click, and then you would put this to prevent it from unlocking. The kickstand is back here. Next we'll fold out the handlebars. It looks like you just lift this in place and you hear it click. I don't see any way to twist this to lock it. I think it's just automatically locked. So in order to unfold it, it says open. You push this out and this folds down. All of these controls are not connected and they're facing inwards. So I'm going to need to flip them around to my desired position. And then I'll use my Allen key to tighten them. There's a headlamp right here. We'll use the Allen key to remove this bolt. We'll feed the bolt washer or the headlamp bracket, tighten it. We can move this headlamp to our desired angle. It appears that all of these are loose. I'm going to rotate them to my desired position and then use my Allen key to tighten all of them. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Next, I'll put the display in. I've already taken the 2 bolts off. I'll feed these over the middle handlebar piece. Now we have to make a few connections. There's one for the throttle. This matches the corresponding one coming out of the display. There's also this black plug right here from the other side of the display, and this goes over here. The space is a bit tight by the headlight, so I might have to loosen this wire wrap. I'm going to redo the cable management. There is some height adjustability to the handlebar stem. By default, this lever was loose for my scooter, but it might not be for you. Usually it's supposed to be right here, and then you can pull this out to loosen it, and then pull this to your desired height. And then right now it's a little bit loose, so I would leave this lever outwards, and then I would tighten this side clockwise until there's enough compression for this to close and hold in place. You really want this to be tight, because if it's loose, this handlebar can slide downwards while you're riding it, and it'll be very dangerous. Let's take a look at the handlebar. We have the left grip. This is the rear brake lever. We have a control for the headlight, 2 signals, a horn. There's another control. There's a plus and minus, an I button, another headlight, and then a power button. This is to release the handlebar, but once I have this tightened, it doesn't seem like there's enough clearance underneath to unfold it. This is the headlight, the display. There's another control for eco and turbo, single or dual motor. This is the front brake lever, the thumb throttle, and another grip. To turn this scooter on, we press and hold the power button. And then it's asking for an NFC card. There's 3 NFC cards. I'm just gonna tap it to bypass the screen. Here we have the battery level, the current speed in miles per hour, the pedal assist level, and the trip. For the headlight button, you can turn it on and off. It looks like for the signals, they stay on until you press it again. So right now I have both signals flashing. And I guess that's good because you can use them as hazard lights. This is the horn. The plus and minus changes the pedal assist level, so I can go from 1 to 3. This I button changes the information, so I can go from trip, odometer, and voltage. The power button does nothing. If I press and hold it, it should turn off. Yep, that worked. This headlight button here seems to turn on the lower headlights, the LEDs, and the rear tail light. And then if I press the brake lever, they seem to flash. When I turn the main headlight on, there's no other lights on the board. If I turn the other headlight button, you can see that there are lights on the front of the board. There's these color changing LEDs. There's a light back here, and then there's another running light back there. If I press the brake lever, the front lights flash, and then the rear lights flash as well. And this one remains solid. Over here, we can change from eco to turbo mode. I believe eco mode limits you to 25 kilometers per hour. And then for single and dual, by default, it's on single motor, and it only controls the rear. So if I lift the rear wheel up, I'm getting 17 miles per hour. If I press this button, when the light is blue, it's dual motors, and both of the motors work. When the light is on, that means it's in eco mode. So before I contacted the manufacturer, I thought that the eco mode didn't work because the zero start works in turbo mode. But when I press the eco mode, the throttle appears to not work. But they told me that even though zero start is enabled in eco mode, you actually have to kick off on the scooter more than like 3 miles per hour. For demonstration purposes, I have the scooter on blocks of wood, and then I also have the rear wheel up on single mode. I'm gonna kick the rear wheel, and then I can use the throttle. So as you can see now, the throttle works on eco mode. In the instruction manual, there is a QR code to download the app to control the LED colors. To keep the video short, I'm not going to show you the entire process. There's potential fault codes which are shown on the screen. And then here are the programming settings. I'll go through that right now. To go to the programming settings, we press and hold the I button. And then the password is 1111. So we'll press the plus button and then the headlight button to go to the next digit. P0 is the wheel diameter. It's currently 10. If we press the plus button, it goes to the next value. P1 is the under voltage protection at 40 volts. P2 is the speed measuring magnetic steel. By default, it's 15. P3 is the gear settings. You have to be pretty quick, otherwise it goes back to the main menu. 1 is default. P4 is the speed unit. If you press and hold the I button, it starts flashing. If you go to 0, it changes it to kilometers. 1 is miles per hour. If I press and hold the I button, it makes it solid and it retains that value. P5 is the 0 start, so 0 is 0 start, and then 1 is non-zero start. P6 is automatic cruise, so 0 is cruise off, 1 is cruise on. 7 is soft and hard start, 0 is soft start, 1 is hard start, it's at 1 by default. P8 is the speed limit setting, it's set at 72 by default. By pressing and holding the I button, this starts to flash, and then you can press the plus buttons to change it to 100. If I press and hold the I button, it retains that value. P9 is the ABS strength, 2 is default, 0 is 0 EABS, 1 is weak, and then 2 is strong. And then if I press up again, it goes back to 0. And if I don't touch anything for about 5 seconds, it goes back to the main screen. In order to turn the unit off, press and hold the power button. The charging port is right here. We need to twist this counterclockwise to take the cap off. Here's the charger. This is the plug end. There's 3 holes and then a groove on the bottom. So this goes in one way. We'll plug this other end into an outlet. Since I'm not by an outlet, I just have this power pack to demonstrate. When it's charging, it'll be red, and when it's fully charged, it'll be green. And it takes about 8 to 10 hours to fully charge. There's front and rear shocks, but it looks like no adjustments can be made to them.